So the power of social networking has now enriched democracy by giving us new ways of expressing what we want to talk about, what's being said, how we view things, and making up our own decisions about stuff. For example, with the Ian Tomlinson case, initial stories were told that he collapsed during the G20 protests in London and police tried to resuscitate him, but they couldn't get him because missiles were being launched by the public, when in fact the truth was a police officer pushed him over and he hit the ground and then later had an aneurysm and died. This shows that tools such as Twitter are now important with delivering us the truth, because before censorship would have told us that it was the police and there was no other way of definitively telling us what actually occurred. This is demonstrated by Paul Lewis, who is a journalist who uses social networking sites such as Twitter to gather his resources. So that's crowdsourcing, if you'd have it. And this also be the same for the London riots, as initially the same photos were being broadcast over and over by Sky News and BBC News, showing us the same pictures of London on fire, when in fact there were more pictures being broadcast around BBM and Twitter showing us what actually was happening, about how police cars were getting smashed up, how shops were getting looted because of arguments to do with the death of Mark Duggan. And because of this new whole idea of social media and the fact that we can now do our own thing, the gatekeepers have now been passed, which have been the old way of saying the media gods, as people like David Gauntlet say, used to have all the power because you needed a big industry behind you to distribute your own products. You need camera crews, studio, distributor, when now digital convergence now allows us to do that all on a handheld device such as a phone or a multimedia player if you have it. This is a very utopian view of how the internet is now corrected, or social networking has now corrected certain things and rectified certain issues, as more voices are now being heard, and this led to the new idea of participatory culture. This can be shown as people are now getting involved with what news is being broadcast, and they're now creating their own database, and that linked to the idea of Wikinomics, which is a user-generated encyclopedia such as Wikipedia, where people collaboratively come up with ideas or information, and they are now able to publish them. The only problem with this whole idea of participatory culture and self-generated content is that it leads to certain dystopian consequences, such as slacktivism, where people think that they're doing something when they're not actually doing something, like with the idea of Get Coney Famous, Coney 2012, war crime